What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. We're seeing more properties like this being built in front of a house that's going to be torn down soon. I understand that there are power lines that are getting kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg, and that there is a commercial real estate building.
I'm joined today with Salvador. How are you doing today, Sal?
Great. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fantastic because, after all, my very favorite audience member is joining us today. And why is my favorite audience member here today? It's because this is a Chance Encounter where I interview commercial real estate syndicators. That means buyers, sellers, investors, all that kind of stuff. And why do I do that? Well, if you know about private deals, sometimes they call them 506B syndications, then you know that you can't find out about those deals unless you have a documented prior substantive relationship. And so that's what I'm up to, is I need to make sure that when I get to a certain number of assets under management and the SEC checks out the books, I got to make sure that I have proof that I found out level of sophistication, appetite for risk, all that kind of fun stuff. But the most important thing is I make sure that you learn how to effectively communicate on the subject of commercial real estate and find out how my guest fits into these deals. But before I get too excited about your business, Sal, do you want to say a thing or two about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Salvador Castaneda. I started in real estate in 2017. I own an apartment complex, 44 units, a couple commercial properties, and looking to get into more deals.
Excellent, excellent. So the first section of this interview is the 5 distinct motivations. Before that, I got to say, but wait, check your 8. Sal, I don't know if you can see through the camera and into the user's device, but down there might be this hideous red subscribe button that I think they should probably do something about, and it's a stupid joke, just never mind. Anyway.
Okay.
The 5 distinct motivations. I've talked to a whole whack of commercial real estate investors, syndicators, all that kind of stuff, and everybody has their own unique why that gets them out of bed and gets them doing all this kind of stuff. But commercial real estate deals are complicated. They take months to pull off, and there are risks involved. So I need to make sure that my guest, what is it when you really get down to brass tacks that is going to make you go through with the entire deal? And I found that everybody's answers fit fairly neatly into these 5 different distinct motivations. So I go through them in every episode. So the first one
Okay.
is preservation of purchasing power. What's that all about? Some people already have a portfolio of assets, and the way that they make ends meet is from the proceeds of ownership, in other words, profits, and that's how they end up paying their bills and all that kind of fun stuff. So why would somebody who's already in that situation be making another acquisition? Well, there are a couple situations. One is if inflation eats away at the purchasing power of the cash flow, then they're going to have to make another acquisition. But other than that, they're only going to be investing if they're going to get it at a steep discount, or like when there's an asset crash or something like that. But that's not what I'm up to personally. What I'm up to is trading time directly for wealth. See, my background is in technology. I worked for web.com, and I opened up my own CRM agency back in 2011. But in 2014, I had a real estate company that was flipping 10 houses a month. They ended up hiring me on. I've ended up becoming their CTO. And while my boss was flipping 10 houses a month and I was watching all the money he was making, I was going like, well, wait a second, I'm paying more in tax than anybody because I'm
Mm-hmm.
a high salary, high wage earner. And so how can I pivot to where I'm getting rewarded in the form of equity, aka deployed capital? So that's why I'm doing all of this. But many people are attracted to commercial real estate because they want to take control of their schedule. And maybe that means they want to fast track retirement, but maybe it means they want to work fewer months per year or fewer weeks per month or something like that. And that is also not really me particularly. But those guys that are fast tracking retirement, they want to scale down a little bit. Whereas this next group, they're so ambitious, they want to buy their entire hometown. They're after that generational, that legacy wealth. They want to make sure that their great grandchildren never have to hold a day job, and that's why they're making acquisitions. So it's the ambition that's going to keep them hustling into their 90s, kind of like this last group. But the difference is it's not quite so focused on dollars and cents or your own family or something. They've found a sector of society. Maybe it's animals, maybe it's the environment, who knows what it is. But they found out that if you want to make a really big difference, then there's a financial component too. So that's why they're building their portfolio, is to end up giving back. So Sal, of those 5 different motivations, what combination of those resonated and you think describes you best?
Yeah, I'm looking to fast track my retirement, and I'm also looking to be the guinea pig and or a resource for my children so that they can grow up and get into real estate as well, and have somebody to say, hey, what happened? So we're going through it together because I'm including them in it already.
All right, I love that answer. It's kind of tragic after you find out about this stuff when, so many
Yeah.
people they just don't know. And the thing that happens so often is people are like, wow, I wish I knew this like 20 years ago. It's
Yeah, I would be somewhere else.
right, exactly. But the fact is, commercial real estate has lots of different risks involved as well. And if you've ever been involved in a 506B deal, then you probably have seen securities attorneys. They insist that you fill out this questionnaire. It's really super invasive as far as your finances go. You end up finding out more than you probably know about your own parents' finances. But the one question where I thought it didn't really do a very good job of what it was supposed to do was the one that was about risk tolerance. So I've made my own
Okay.
question about that, and it's a fill in the blank question. There are many popular investment asset classes, but I think blank is too risky. What's too risky for you, Sal?
This is a difficult questions for me. I think too risky for me is going to be maybe things that where there's too much hope that something's going to happen from the investment.
Yep, I definitely get that one. It's pretty tough to get your heart out of it, but it's I find it's just like a spouse. You got to find the one that loves you back instead of
Yeah, yeah.
whatever, and you can just gobble that. That's
Yep,
the way it
nice.
is. Yeah, it's pretty. It's subtle. You'll never guess what I'm trying to get people to do on that one. But it's the best segue to the Dan Does Deals Core Competency Cube. I have all 6 sides of a commercial deal on this cube. You can get your own copy for free at dandoesdeals.com. And like a complete dummy, I don't even ask for your email address. And that's like the worst thing you can do from a marketing perspective. You should always ask for some sort of contact information in return for your freebie. But I go through all 6 sides. It takes 2 minutes to go through all 6 sides total. And I go through all of them in every episode, because this way you can not only learn how to effectively communicate on the subject of commercial real estate deals and teams, but you'll also know how my guest fits into these. So let's go through them. First one is the repositioner. The repositioner is an acquisitions person. So they're looking at a bunch of different properties and they're doing a bunch of paperwork. What is this paperwork, you may ask? Well, there's a fancy word for it. It's called underwriting. That means you're doing the math. You're figuring out, first of all, is this property actually making the amount of money that the seller/broker claims it is? Because there's all kinds of fun and games that you can do with the numbers, and the repositioner has to be able to see through it. But they're really doing the arithmetic because they're trying to find upside. I call them repositioners. Some people call these guys investors, and these guys investors, and these guys investors. But the repositioners are looking for upside. They're figuring out how can they change this property to find more upside. And one part of being a repositioner, everyone has to have financier or investor relations. So financiers are banks, but the main thing is that financiers only deal with paper and money. So they're not actually on what's called the GP team. They're not actually part of the business doing with regular duties. The financiers are just funding it all. And the reason why those investor relations are part of every repositioner's business is because if you can get a more advantageous loan, then that goes straight to the bottom line. It cuts your expense. Your loans are one of the biggest ones. So that is why they're always chasing financiers as repositioners. But The more common, more understandable part of what a repositioner does is getting the operations team to stop those Benjamins from going down the toilet there. But of course, there's more to operations than just unclogging toilets, dealing with termites, and also mowing lawns and collecting rent. As a matter of fact, one of my fortes, which is a backup for my GP teams, is my marketing chops and also automation. And the marketing part comes in where if you have a vacancy rate problem, if you have some units that just won't get filled, like even if you are outsourcing to a property management company, somebody has to have some marketing chops to really fill those units. So that's one of the things I do. But operations is probably not enough. The margins are fairly thin. So cutting expenses aren't going to work very frequently for some repositioners. So they'll get a contractor team involved to do a value add and do renovations. And the thing about the contractors, if you upgrade these units, the idea is that the next resident will be happy to pay more in rent than the previous one, and that's upside. But of course, there's a really hard limit to how much you can do as a contractor or what kind of upgrades will actually give you a return on investment. So you got to make sure that nobody's gold plating toilets or basically playing fun and games with the schedule or using subpar equipment. So if you're like me, see, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm from the internet. So that means I need locals. I need boots on the ground, somebody who can be there in an hour or two, because that will not be me. I'd still be stuck at an airport in an hour or two. So that's not my job at all. But the local is a key part of the team to keep an eye on the operations, make sure that they're telling the truth with everything they send into the GP team, and then also that the contractors are finishing on time and all that. But when the repositioner has figured out which property they want and they turn around to a financier, they say, okay, hey, I'm all set to make an acquisition financier. It's 350 units and tens of millions of dollars. You don't happen to have, I don't know, tens of millions of dollars you want to lend us, do you? And the financier is going to have another question on their mind, which I haven't answered yet, which is, who's your sponsor? Who's the KP? What's that all about? Well, this one is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine because I find that a lot of gurus and coaches, they kind of gloss over this one. And if you take a hypothetical situation, let's say you're an engineer or you're a physician, something like that, and you got some friends, you want to pull some resources and take over a commercial property. Well, the big snag you're going to run into is somebody in the fold has to already own a similar asset, or you're not going to be eligible for the loan. So that means if you want to pick up a 350 unit apartment complex with you and your friends, you need somebody who already owns a 350 unit apartment complex, or the bank is going to say no. On top of that, you need a certain amount of liquidity. And then among the GP team, you need a balance sheet of at least the amount of the loan. But if you got all of those pieces, you've got yourself a commercial real estate deal. So Sal, I know that you're a little bit of a mixed bag. You're getting involved in a few different things. But what are your core competencies that you would say you're most likely to contribute to your next deal?
I can actually help in all those areas. I've been doing all of that for myself. And so, yeah, I'm willing to help in whatever area. But yeah,
Okay.
I've been looking at, I can get into deals, especially here in the local area. I've been able to get into deals, even into properties, even before they're listed, just because I've established the network. And as far as looking at numbers, I'm good at looking at numbers, good at, seeing what can be done. I got net worth. So anyways.
Exactly. So you got that all buttoned up. Good stuff. So that only brings us then to the buy box. And when syndicators, investors, commercial real estate people are saying, hey, what's your buy box? What's your ideal property? What you're looking for? We're really asking about three main things. First one's geography. Where is it? Where is this property? Okay. And that means which states, which counties, possibly even which neighborhood. Okay. It's all going to matter for different syndicators. So geography matters. Second one's going to be size. Now, I know that Sal has experience in areas of real estate outside of multifamily, even though he's looking at multifamily more primarily right now. But most of my guests are from multifamily, and the way that you define size in multifamily is by unit count, because you're going to have a completely different group of people taking over 5-unit apartment complexes compared to the 151. That size definitely matters, so we need to find that out. If you're in industrial or warehousing or something like that, you're going to go by square footage, though. But the size still matters. Third one, though, is called class. And I personally don't like it when people use one word to mean two completely different things. So I parse it out into two words. The first one is condition. So condition has to do with how old the property is, how beat up it is, or is it basically up to date? Is it like no frills or amenities, or is it just chock full of luxurious amenities and lots of fun stuff for residents to use? That is condition. Now, the second meaning of class, yeah, I call it area. And when they're talking about the area of a property, we're really talking about what are the school districts like? What's the crime rate like? And how much traffic actually goes by that property in any given day? And both of those two meanings of class, that was area and condition, we rank them the same way as in grade school, where you got A plus at the top, and then A minus, and then B plus, and so on. So, Sal, as far as properties that are really enticing for you these days, what you're looking for?
I am looking for, personally, I was looking for about 100 units, give or take 20.
Mhm.
With a group, we could do more, and so I'm open to all of that. And I'm looking for somewhere where kind of like a B class type of property is what I'm looking for. 2 bedroom, 2 units, 2 bedroom, 2 bath at least.
Okay. And as far as states go, the geography.
I'm open to certain states. Iowa is where I'm at, and I know the area, and so I would be open to Iowa as well, and I can go look at the properties pretty quickly.
Okay, cool. And then as far as like other ones that are like really sweet, or is it just really you prefer Iowa?
Well, I prefer Iowa. I've been looking into Florida, into Kentucky,
Mhm.
looking into the East Coast. We're planning to do an East Coast road trip to go check the actual neighborhoods out and see what the states look like. But North Carolina is what we're looking at. South Carolina, Florida, Kentucky,
All right, great.
Michigan.
All right, cool. So lots of the usual subjects. So that's great. Suspects, not subjects. Anyway, the next question I have for you then, it has to do with people, and it's fantastic that commercial real estate is so multifaceted because nobody's going to be like all the sides that die on bigger deals for any meaningful amount of time, and so everybody is eager to build new teams. But because we have our own unique skill sets, we're better off helping some more than others. Me personally, because of my marketing background and automation, all that kind of stuff, the sponsors and KPs tend to be who I want to meet the most, just because they've got the
Okay.
foundations that works for a person like me. But the other one I keep on running into is I need more locals, because after all, I'm from the internet. But Sal,
Right.
as far as you're concerned, I know that you don't do too much as far as syndicating where you're the issuer or something like that. But I usually warn people that if they've got a 506B deal going on, don't go enticing investors, because the SEC doesn't like that. So if you have like a donut or something, don't wave it in front of the camera. More specifically, don't talk about a specific private deal. But on the die, out of these 6 different roles here, who are you looking for? Who are you disproportionately well suited to help?
All right. Somebody that's looking for real estate to find deals.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so someone who's looking for the deal flow. Got it. Great answer.
Yes.
And then as far as how to reach out, me, it's super simple. I got it visible right here. I got this really distinct last name, so I'm easy to find. My best social media platform to find me is LinkedIn. That's where I spend way more time than any other platform. But if you use your phone to scan this code right here, that goes to the FAQs page of 506BME, and 506BME is the platform based off of CRMs, and it integrates with your CRMs and your Calendly. But the purpose is to document your substantive relations so that you actually have something to show the SEC. Say, see, look, I actually put a lot of effort in making sure that my investors know what's going on, and I know their level of competency and sophistication. But Sal, as far as if somebody's going to reach out to you, what are the best channels, email, phone, whatever?
Yeah.
Like, how should people reach out?
Facebook and LinkedIn, I'm under Salvador Castaneda.
Okay, okay, and those are the best ways to reach out. There aren't any websites or something like that, but people should look.
No, not at this time, but I'm working on
Cool.
that.
Excellent, excellent. So then the last thing then I have, it's actually a public service in essence. So it's not for you, Sal, it's for you in the audience. If you've been watching this episode and you've been experiencing searing pains in your eyeballs and like migraine-like symptoms, I'm very confident it's because of the hideous subscribe button, which is just down there, and you can hit it for free. It costs you absolutely nothing. And you might wonder, well, why do you want me to hit it then? Well, if enough people hit this button, then YouTube will start to pay for these videos instead of me. And I think that would be amazing, but really all it means, as I said, there's no cost involved. All it means is that my videos might show up on your list of suggestions, but you can go ahead and ignore those suggestions because I just appreciate the fact that you spent this time with me. Just like Sal, I appreciate you joining me today. This has been fantastic. All right. Sweet. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Make sure you 506B me. Any syndicators, make sure you 506B me.
Hi.
Oh, hey, yeah, here's my code. You got your QR code scanner? Okay, yeah, oh yeah, just hold it right in the square there. Okay, cool. And now you hit open in browser.
Okay.
Okay, are you already logged into 506B me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so there's my video. So now I'm already on your watch list. So when you get back to your hotel, you can find out what my core competencies are and my level of sophistication. Sound good?
Yeah.
I love your hat. Real estate's a scam. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
506B me, everybody.